mother's statement, while I love my Father's business, the Father is perfecting all that concerns me. And that simply means that if I pay attention to what my life tasks are about, and do them in faith, that all good shall be added unto me. So I never have to be concerned. And as I acquire and embody love's essences within myself, in all of my vast field of relationships, all the gifts shall sequentially come forward and manifest in my life. So let us define the wide range of relationships that emanate in our life and their different natures and tasks. We have, oh, so many soulmates. In fact, I think not only all persons of particular significance and importance in your life, but everyone who is on this planet at this time with you is really your soulmate. Some are at the group level, groups of persons involved in unified purposes where love has already been perfected at many levels. And many times there are strong affinities that happen between persons, attractions, and love relationships are formed within these groups or happen from member to member. And these are the easier attractions of the emotional body, where a lot has been perfected already, but not necessarily the consummate partner. In most relationships, we are still cleaning up the karmic residue, and opportunities abound, don't they? So we have soulmates of the most powerful and intense kind on the personal level, and they seemingly are like fated persons in our life, and they seem fated because the psyche, or the universal subconscious mind, the storehouse of all memory, remembers faintly, dimly, the past. Okay? Gladys Jones says we can recognize these intense transformative relationships when they come to us by the strong sense of magnetism mixed with foreboding. Interesting, huh? Because the intuition is giving us signals that we're going to have something to work out here. The psyche remembers the past issues and fears the replay. Right? But even these relationships, even though they stir us up and stir up all the stuff, for us to heal, nevertheless, they're some of the greatest opportunities before you finally go on the ascending cycle, because the passion is so strong in the feelings, and the hold in the old habits is so strong. So that when we can see these things as our turning point, here is where we're going to succeed and rise forever, never more to repeat, or fail, okay, and go cross those rivers of Hades over and over and over again until finally we have, gotten in so much that we're finally willing to let go the lesser and let in the greater consciousness of love. And that's part of the universal law. I must let go the lesser for the greater. So these are in the emotional plane, and they're called relationships of the psyche, which are also soulmates at a powerful level. So you can see that we indeed have many levels of relationship and soulmates, and there's different meaning in our lives, but all together, all of these are God's love put before us that we may perfect our ways. And we draw these persons in, no matter if they look directly like an angel to us or like an angel in disguise. We draw them in for assistance. And that's why I say it's an act of love. Like actors in your play, you say, so-and-so, do me a favor. Next life, come in and play the role of, I have to get over this dependency thing, will you please? And thus we go in the tunnel and emerge in life and see if we can do it this time. So realize that every single person in your life is God in form, is love. There is no other thing. We have got to stop saying, if we want to get free, that people are doing things to me, so-and-so is hurting me. This is not to realize the most profound meaning of our relationships and not to ascend. You're dooming yourself to repetition unless you step up and realize from the high place what your relationships are about. So people are in our lives for resolving physical, mental, emotional issues, and they are all love. And they are there for our perfecting our experience. So at this cosmic level, all are our dearest own. You know, it is said by the great masters that there is not one stranger. All of us are, you know, infinite love. How could we know anything? Born of the one. How could there be any such a thing as a stranger anywhere? Yet, within all of this, still, it doesn't necessarily mean we have met our immortal love, who, through all of our evolution and change, sits there quietly behind the scenes while we're about our Father's business. So I find it important to realize, here's a distinguishing factor between mortal and immortal. If you have come to the place of perfecting love, like Walter and Leo Russell were risen, and I believe that they were and are the eternal partners for one another, that they had come to such a high place of achieving love within themselves that they were brought together. And you can recognize an immortal mate, for there will be perfect harmony, there will be balance. This one will be your unique. Remember, God never does repeats. Okay? So each one of you here is totally the uniqueness of God. So it will be your unique complement. See, your unique complement of perfect joy. And through your relationship, your unified relationship, there comes to be born fulfillment, absolute fulfillment in both lives, each life enhancing the other. And this has no sense of foreboding about it whatsoever. Absolutely joyous. No conflict with the person. When you're at the stage to meet the person right for you, there is none of this old stuff. That's history. Okay? So, at this stage, you can imagine, of perfecting love, love has been made fully conscious. It has become the prime principle of life. In other words, the spirit of love goes before me. Now, if I make my life devoted to expressing that principle as an actual life principle of the cosmos, to express divine love no matter what, that means in the situation when I can choose, in every circumstance, we can choose one or two things. We can respond from our humanness, or we can respond from our divinity. So from my divinity, like the Christ, if someone hurts me, I can choose from my humanness, believing I'm only physical, to retaliate, or I can step up and say, wait a minute, didn't I commit to express divine love? I forgive this person. I have many feet. You can step all over them, you know. So, but it's a choice, you see. In every instance, you have this choice, and one choice is ascending you, empowering you, and unifying you with the Creator, and the other is sinking you deep into steel bonds that are very hard to get rid of. Okay? Invisible steel bonds. Those negative reactions bind you to people in a way that does not fulfill your heart's desires. So, there is no sense of foreboding. And love has been enthroned and become fully conscious in both persons' consciousness and fully embodied in their being. And there is a perfect balancing of masculine, feminine qualities that have been established within each. Thus all the energy that was involved heretofore in mortal competition, winning, victories, false role-playing, and so on, has now been freed, and the two fiery lights of God may use their perfect complementary energies to fulfill divine purposes together. The creative solar center of the two has been entirely freed from any and all lower magnetism. So you may ask, well, how do we use the laws of attraction and love to draw our immortal love into our life, that we may ascend together in perfection and union? First is to recognize that it already exists at the higher plane of functioning. At your higher plane of functioning, it already exists in the perfection. Now, second, as we said, is accept where you are is right. Know that you're moving forward in perfect and right ways, and accept that where you are is right. And name it good. Remember we said there are no evil persons in our life. There is only the good of the gods manifest for us. And as we name it good, we can then be inspired. You know, when you change your attitude about something, it opens the gateways of inspiration, and you suddenly begin to see what the value of a person is in your life, of a situation, right? And thus we can rise out of our emotional stupor into the more rarefied atmosphere through the powers of reason. It's called Divina Ratione, I think. The powers of reason allow us to overview. Say we use these powers, cultivating wisdom's powers, realizing more consciously that all are in our life for a noble purpose of our freedom, to stir us to freedom and to express greater life. And thus we lift above being caught in these emotional dramas. We realize also that all are given of God. So instead of getting caught up and reinforcing the mortal drama, we cleanse through rising to realize the Creator's purpose. And you know, it is so powerful. I can't say this enough when you're really stuck, to just remind yourself, you know, so-and-so is in my life for a divine purpose. And see if you don't get illumination and then following that, freedom. So second then, after harmonizing with the task at hand, harmonizing with now, because if you're not harmonized with now, then that lesson or whatever will have to return unto you and unto you until you have said, okay, I welcome this challenge. Thank you, God. You know, let's go forward, okay? So it's important to stabilize, get peaceful, harmonize with what's going on now. Then you can have power. There's no power without peace. There is no power without acceptance. And then decide. And here's interesting, it's where the wisdom faculties are beginning to work. Decide which qualities of love can we build, or are we building and embodying through the catalyst of the relationship at hand. Which principle of love? You know, divine principles are self-existent, and they're life-giving, they're resurrecting, okay? So there is a principle of faith that I must keep my mind on high in order to experience perfect right results, right? Or there is a principle that I must love each and all. It doesn't mean I have to have dinner with them, but I must unconditionally love. I may not even choose to be around them, but I must unconditionally love absolutely, and only know the highest and best for those persons. So in every circumstance, there's some quality of love behind the scenes that is wanting to come out and get expressed and become a part of our being. All right? So you can decide when you're overviewing a situation, what quality of love am I building on the deeper planes and embodying through the catalyst of this relationship. And then next, so you're harmonized, you know what you're about, you know what your intent, what you want to bring out in this situation, the highest and the best. And then what? Then go apart. Go apart in meditation and dwell and contemplate what you want. You know, when you're so caught up in trying to fix this and that and caught in the moment, how can your creative power function? Right? So this is why we must go apart and forget everything that's going out in our sense world and get in the center again within our heart of hearts and ask, what do I want to establish in my life? If not this, what then? If not that, what then? Moving from simply playing out compulsive attractions and scenarios of imbalanced attractions where maybe we're attracted at, one or two, but not all levels. Maybe just physical, maybe physical, mental, maybe mental. But until we've got all levels balanced, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, you cannot experience true love because the energy is being short-circuited somewhere. You can see how that is, right? So you must draw apart, and now instead of just being victim, just responding to the whatevers that come to us, we're saying, now I am consciously choosing, knowing I am one with the Creator and all the power of that mind. I am choosing what to bring out in my life, what is right and perfect for me. So how do I do that? Again, the story of creation. God thought into God's self, spoke the word, and the world was manifest. So we are the same way. We contemplate an idea of good for ourselves, an idea of perfect love for ourselves. We dwell in that realm of the invisible realm, the spiritual realm of the invisible realm of the idea, because we know that the ideas, those inner ideas, will form a prototype that will show up on the outer. Okay? So we commune within ourselves to see what it is that we want. And through strong visioning and meditation. Now, when I say visioning, I do not mean visualizing. I do not mean saying, well, this is what I want, God, and this is the person's name, and here's their address. We can't function like that. Okay. That is mental activity, but it is not streaming in from the Creator. Okay, and this is where we get into trouble trying to control who that right person is, and where we're exerting our personal will over something. So when I say visioning, I mean sitting back receptively and saying, God, what do you have in mind for me? What do you want for me? What does loving Father, Mother, God want for me? And then those right ideas will stream from on high into your consciousness and give you the right pattern that is really right for you. So we vision, and we must have strong visioning. We meditate, and we literally commune with the inner essence of our perfect complement who already exists, but who shall not come forth until we are in the right resonance of consciousness. So it's no good to say, I want the perfect love of my life to come right now. In the meantime, you're being nasty to your neighbor. See, the two don't mix. It will never happen. Okay? That's just not existent in cosmic law. So I say, all right, so strong visioning, meditation, because we must be clear. Remember, we live in a universe of unformed substance that responds to our thinking. So if we do not give clear pictures, other people's pictures will show up for us and demonstrate in our life. our parents' idea of a relationship for us, our best friend's idea of a relationship for us, all of which are limited, and none of which are the blueprint that God has for you. So only you have the blueprint, and only you can vision and choose to bring it forth. So we commune with the inner essence of our perfect complement. I like to say to myself, in such a clearing question, I love right self-questioning. It's quite an ancient yogi helm, and it's quite a gift. And I say to myself, if all I ever knew was perfect love, if all I ever knew was perfect love, what would that look like to me? See what a difference between usually how we're walking around and then approaching it from this point. That also can lead you to the God idea for you. All right? What would I be expecting if I never knew any rejection whatsoever? If none of these memories existed and all I knew was perfect love, what would I be expecting for myself here? And of course, you must free yourself of the past through forgiveness, so you can move forward in constructing the mental emotional mold for your right partner, because I'll tell you, if you will not let yourself off the hook, and God certainly is very willing, a loving Father, Mother God does not desire to be on the hook, okay? So let yourself off the hook. Only you alone can do it, because if you will not forgive yourself and release the past, guess what? You will not let yourself have good. You will not let yourself have good. So you must forgive yourself, and you must forgive everyone else, so that you will let yourself have good. Okay? So, remembering as you do this, the Creator, who is all love, holds nothing against me or anyone, and all the powers in the universe desire your freedom and joy and success beyond our wildest imaginings. And with God, all things are possible. There is nothing that cannot be altered or changed or shifted up by the divine power of love. So to manifest something new, you must, of course, envision by the law the highest and the best, according to you, of loving eternal partnership, not for this lifetime. Okay. Still, you will not tap the secret doors of eternality. If you're thinking in terms of just for now, just for this lifetime, if only I can do this. Start thinking much more vast. Think eternally. Think forever. Get paradigms of love that are permanent, established in your molecular, cellular structure, so that you will always have at your bottom level love. Bottom level love. Okay? Someone said to me, you know, really it should be that Christ consciousness is first level. You know, like he said, do as I do and do more. You know, we should take it for granted that that's our first level of building into our consciousness, that Christ consciousness. All right? So, even down to, when you're visioning, go even down to the specifics. What does the person look like? Not what their name is, but, you know, the more specific you are in what you desire, without being, you know, so controlling over it, the better off you will be, and the swifter will be your manifestation. So even down to the specifics, and then inwardly contemplate, accept this good of God as already existing for you, and know that you are moving toward it. And tell your partner, through the invisible planes of mind, that you are ready to receive. You know, it's very hard to move into a new land or kingdom if you haven't defined it, if you don't know what it is for yourself. So this is a very important step of ascension, to define these qualities that you treasure, that you would cherish, to define what is important to you. And then, what do we do next? We know we want that in the other. then we start building the same attracting qualities, the same magnetic body into our very own nature, practicing those very same virtues of love everywhere we go. If I want someone who's infinitely kind, can I be an angry person? No, we know the law. It doesn't mix. So you know you have, the next thing is you do your part after you've got your vision clear by living it in all your situations now, in all your ways, and embodying, that means being, those qualities. Realize also when your true mate comes forward that immortal relationships are supremely conscious, as we said, love has been realized, eternally faithful and purposeful. There are none of those old problems of conflict there, for they have risen above the mortal planes of duality and conflict. So, and there are many, many efforts in such teams to enrich the whole universe, as in Walter and Leah Russell. For true love births the Christ consciousness. True love gives birth to the Christ consciousness and has a multiplying and increasing effect and gives rise to an expansion of the radiation of love from the two centers of love wherever they go. The intense radiance of the lovers moving out to bless families, cities, worlds, dimensions. So you must be willing to say bye-bye forever to possessive love and ideas of the two of you cloistered away from the world, not caring about any other. For this is a very mortal, separative, turned in, and kind of first-level expression of attraction. So, you know how it is when you are in the presence of people who are genuinely of affinity with one another, how they radiate. And when people fall in love, they manifest that glow, that something special has happened to them. But the thing is crossing the bridge so that it is eternal. So this radiance goes out and begins to go through all the heart chambers, the 4 heart chambers, the personal, the family, spreading out. The energy spreads through all 4 heart chambers when people are very connected. And they desire to benefit, to express their love through benefiting the world.